We've looked at the study of our competence development level. We've answered the questions on the basis of the cases. I mean the descriptions of real work situations which we have to face every day. And we've chosen the best responses. Finally, we received a report. How do we interpret it correctly to draw constructive conclusions that are important for our development? Stay with me to find out more. As we know, the report have different forms: a line graph, a bar chart, a candlestick chart, usually having a so-called spider web form. Presenting data may vary depending on our imagination. For example, it may take a form of a planetary system, in which the most desired results are closer to the Sun. It may also depend on what we want to highlight, how much and what kind of data we want to present. For example, the data can be just figures or full descriptions. In the case of the competence study, percentages are presented together with the most frequent choices and descriptions. We receive a report which looks like this. As you can see, it is full of lines and dots. How can they be deciphered? On the left, there are names of competencies. Let me remind you that how they are chosen, defined, their aspects as well as the work situations in which they appear, it means case descriptions, were created by reliable consultations with the HR department and the key workers of the company. Both the study itself and the results are based on respondents' everyday jobs. This was described in detail in the Developing Competence Assessment video tutorial. Next to the competence, there is a scale of 0 to 100% and a point which indicates the result of the study. You received this percentage by choosing the behaviors, responses, which could be chosen from the descriptions of specific situations. What scores were allocated to specific responses? Let me repeat. 4 for the most appropriate answer. 3 or 2 for an intermediate answer. 1 for the least appropriate answer. There comes a question. Who decides which answers are appropriate and which are not? The HR department does. Although not independently, but after numerous consultations with key workers of particular departments, who we could call high achievers, people who accomplish their tasks and achieve set aims. As you can see, it is a scale delivered from the company reality and not from the moon. The report also includes information from the observers, their supervisors, co-workers, and subordinates. This information shows how they assess the respondent's performance in relation to a particular competence. What does a low or high result mean? It means a high or low compatibility of your responses with the responses chosen by the experts in the company. I repeat, it is not the level of your competence, but the level of compatibility with the experts' choices or with the company's expectations. For example, let's imagine that Adam is a manager in our company. He tested his empathy competence. After reading the cases and choosing the reactions most typical of him, it turned out in the report that in the empathy competence he scored 30%. Because Adam is a nice, compassionate person who is ready for sacrifice, we can assume that in this particular case he chose a highly empathetic response. It is good? Normally, yes. However, it turns out that the level of this competence isn't compatible with the company's expectations. How is it possible? Well, the experts have decided that the expected level of empathy should not be that high. High empathy levels show that a manager, Adam, due to high level of sympathy and pitying, may tolerate the low work quality of his subordinates, their insubordination or even neglection of their duties. Because Adam chose the responses which were sign of very high empathy, he was not in line with the experts' indications. So the result in the empathy category was a low 30%. The report then shows what the level of the company's expectations are and how the choices compare with those of the high achievers. Where does this result scale come from? Every aspect of tested competence is connected to a case description, which is a real work situation which requires a specific reaction. We have three responses to choose from: A, B, and C. Let's say that we indicated A as the best response and C as the worst. We identified this setup as the most characteristic of us. What were all of the possibilities? Let me remind you, our choice was the following: maximum in A and minimum in B. And what did the experts, the company's best practitioners, indicate? If they choose the same as me, then my result means 100% compatibility with their choices. Therefore, the score in my report will amount to 100%. However, if the experts have indicated differently, the report will also present incompatibility of our choices. Attached are the grounds for the choice taken by the experts. Adam found out from this comment why his empathy score was not helpful to him as a manager. One more thing. On the right, next to each vertical axis of the scale are percentages. They represent the level of the observer's agreement. If the percentage ranges is low, it means that the observer's indications were concurrent within this competence. However, if the percentage is high, then it means that within one competence, the observations are divergent. What are the benefits of the report structured in this way? Firstly, we know the real result based on the cases simulating real work situations. Secondly, we know what level of competence is expected by our company. Thirdly, we see to what extent our competencies are aligned with the company's expectations. Please take a look at my other video tutorials.